well, this is the last thing I wanted to talk about. I'm
loving it.
I want to tell a story. It's like a storybook, a picture book, except it's news articles from the same website over a period of time beginning in March of 2020 surrounding COVID-19 and contact tracing. This is a tale as old as time. I will never sing again. I promise. Not really. I probably will, but this is in 7 browser tabs. The story of how every government action ever occurs. It always starts very small, very innocuous, very innocent, helping people, and it always ends in totalitarian insanity. So here we are, 7 tabs to tyranny. That's the title of this video, 7 tabs to tyranny. So in Singapore, back in March, they launched a COVID-19 contact tracing app, and they sold it to the people as a Trace Together app, available for download, works by exchanging short-distance Bluetooth signals between mobile phones to detect other participating app users in close proximity. Users have to be within 2 meters of each other for about 30 minutes for their data to be logged. If a user is interviewed by a MOH, which I think is like the Ministry of Health, which is no one should ever name anything Ministry of anything. That's just like, whoo, 1984. Ministry of Health said records of such encounters are stored locally on each user's phone. If a user is interviewed by MOH as part of contact tracing efforts, he or she can consent. Remember those words. He or she can consent to send his or her Trace Together data to MOH, they said. This facilitates the contact tracing process and enables contact tracers to inform Trace Together users who are close contacts of COVID-19 cases more quickly. This enables users to take the necessary action sooner, such as monitoring his own health closely. Early detection could potentially help reduce the risk of the spread of the virus and better protect our families and loved ones. Yeah. If users are contacted for contact tracing, they can be compelled under the Infectious Diseases Act to send their app data to the health ministry. However, users can withdraw their consent to using the app and delete it at any point in time prior to being contacted. Such backwards ass doublespeak. Users he or she can consent, but they can be compelled. But they can consent. What are you? Anyway, this is the first article, and we're already like in Weird Town, right?
Yeah.
Privacy safeguards in place. In its press release, GovTech, which is like an Orwellian name in and of itself, GovTech.
Yeah.
Talk about a corporatist insanity. GovTech and the Ministry of Health said, this is right out of GovTech. Oh my God, that's terrible. Said users have to give their explicit consent to participate in Trace Together, including having their mobile phone number and app data be used for contact tracing. And then it goes on and talks about it completely differently. When requested, users can send their Trace Together logs. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so basically at the very end, it means that poor memory will no longer slow down the process of contact tracing, and the app preserves a fair degree of privacy. Okay, that was tab 1. So it's just to help people, just to help people. October 20, let me make sure I have these in order because it starts happening really fast here. Okay. October 20, what you need to know about Singapore's Trace Together tokens. So now there's a hardware device in addition to the app because not enough people were voluntarily using the app. The authorities began distributing Trace Together tokens on Monday as part of efforts at tackling the COVID-19 pandemic. They're distributing the tokens. The authorities will roll out the devices nationwide in an aim to complete distribution by November. Similar to the app for the phones, it logs who you were near claims that it will delete the data after 25 days. It claims it doesn't record their locations. And it's, by December, FYI, the deployment and use of Trace Together app or token will be mandatory across a wide range of venues. So in the last tab, when they got it approved to, be paid for by GovCo and the Ministry of Health, it was just a consensual thing you could choose to put on your phones. Now, step 2, by December, use of the Trace Together app or token will be mandatory across a wide range of venues. I'm losing my ability to talk, sorry. And then there's a long list of venues where they will now be mandatory. Why are they doing this? Well, about 2.4 million people, or 40% of the total resident population, have downloaded the Trace Together app. But not all users turn it on. And some people have problems with the app. And some older residents may not use smartphones. And we want to protect them too. And therein lies the nub of the challenge. Because the more people are actively on, then the better we can protect people. So even today, with 2.4 million downloads, in my opinion, quote, that's just still not sufficient. Okay, so moving on. Another article. Trace Together use to be mandatory at workplaces, schools, and malls by December. So you can see, I'm not going to read. Yeah, I'm not going to read the entire thing as we go, but you see what's happening. It starts small. Let us do this really small thing for the good of the old people. Okay, now, not enough people are doing it, so we're going to have to make you do it. Okay, now you're going to have to do it to, go to school or go to work, which is kind of where we're at in the U.S. I think the next step in the U.S. is if you want to go to work, if you want to preserve your business license, then you have to also pass the health checks to make sure that your employees are safe. So this is the next step. They make it mandatory for your place of business, and they don't usually force it on the employees themselves, which is kind of where we're at here in the US. They force it on the companies. That way, they don't have, in the US especially, they do not have the legal right, according to their magic spell pieces of paper, they do not have the legal right to force you to wear a mask. But apparently, somewhere along the line, enough people are fooled into thinking that businesses need permission from the government in the form of a license to operate. And so, if the businesses want to continue getting their license renewed, well, then they do have to do what the government says. It's like a backdoor theft of liberty through the employers. Have you seen that anywhere where you're from?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly how. That's how it's always done. Is you go to either the boss, or if the boss is leasing, you go to the landlord, and you say, well, you're not going to be able to get insurance on this property if you don't make sure all of your residents are doing what's safe for people. And it's just, the insurance companies, how they are. But if you let your people come in here and get other people sick, then I can get sued, and then the title, let's just do it. And that way we can keep your lease renewed, or we can get it renewed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And oh no, the guy agreed to do it, is what they'll say later too. Oh no, the business owner didn't seem to mind at all. Well, no, not when you were hinting that you were going to make them lose their lease. Yeah, of course they said, yes, massa, yes, massa. Well, that's not truly consent. That is coercion.
Yeah, and so this is just kind of exactly that stuff. It's, not enough people are still using the tokens in the app, and so we're going to make it mandatory. Oh, just because we want to stay on track for our phase 3 reopening. There's phases, which means that we've thought about it and we have a plan. Don't worry, we got this. We got a plan. And we're trying to get to phase 3. We just need your help. Help us. Help us monitor you.
For your sake, so you can get back to your wonderful lives.
We want you to be able to earn money. Yeah. Why are you interfering with us trying to help you make money?
Don't you love children?
You must hate grandma and hate children. Oh,
yeah.
How dare. Okay, next tab, number 4. We're almost done. 78% of residents are now participating, so they've been pretty successful in their mandatory stuff. More than 4.2 million people now, or 78% of Singapore's resident population are now participating in the government's Trace Together program. Of those, around 2 million people use the Trace Together app on their mobile phones. To date, the government has spent $10 million on developing the app and safe entry system. The safe entry system is the thing that makes areas mandatory. Like you can't, it's safe and it's to keep you safe. It's the safe entry. It's the safe door that, doesn't let you into where you want to go unless you're safe for safetyness. If we say safe enough times, you'll ignore the freaking tyranny, right?
Yeah. Yes. Wow. You're acting like you care. Oh my, I love it.
Oh man. Let's see. In response to a question filed by MP Gerald on whether the cost is justified, Wong, who is also an education minister, said, quote, "The results speak for themselves. The TT system, Trace Together system, has stopped the transmission of the virus in many instances and has helped save many lives, so I have no doubt the cost effectiveness of this program." Wong added that once everyone who needs a token has had the chance to collect one, the government will require everyone to use TT, either the app or token, at safe entry. Safe! Checkpoints of safety, safeness at safe entry-ness is checkpoints. More details coming soon. Next tab.
Okay, what was that date?
Oh, crap. Let me see.
If it's gone, it's okay. If it's gone.
This is January 4, 2021. So
okay,
really
can
recent.
I interject a moment of hope? The last one, when they're at less than half or whatever, they had all of October, November, December, January, if my math is roughly correct, in a very obedient culture where you get your butt whipped with a cane if you vandalize a car, from what I recall from the old news story. And I look at this, what do we say, 78% are now complying? I look at that as a 22% win for the good guys? Like there's still 22% of the people in a very repressive society that haven't said, okay, we'll do it with a horrible government ruling them. Like that's kind of neat. And I know I know that's not the point of this, but way to go, 22%ers.
That is a really tasty white pill, sir. Like, I think, and makes me sad at the same time because I'm pretty sure it's way less than 20% of the people in my area that are resisting. Oh, yep. I'm sad now. Okay. Trace Together data can be used for criminal investigations. What? The cops can get the data? What? Cops can get the data? For law enforcement can get the data? What? That can't be right.
Wow.
The Singapore police are empowered under the Criminal Procedure Code to obtain Trace Together data for criminal investigations, said the Minister of State for Home Affairs. He was responding to a question raised on whether data from Trace Together, a digital system meant to help with contact tracing, would be used for criminal probes and legal provisions and safeguards in place for the use of such data. Quote, "The government is the custodian of the Trace Together data submitted by the individuals, and stringent measures are put in place to safeguard this personal data. Examples of these measures include only allowing authorized officers to access the data, using such data only for authorized purposes of safetyness, and storing the data
authorized. Okay.
and storing the data on a secure platform." He added that there's a $5,000 fine for people that misuse the data. Now that the government has said that they might actually use the Trace Together data for police investigations, does this not violate the Trace Together privacy statement, which says that any data shared with the Ministry of Health will only be used solely for contract tracing? And let's see. Then the politician says authorized police officers may invoke the Criminal Procedure Code, law, magic spell, piece of paper, safetyness, to obtain this data for the purpose of criminal investigation and for the purpose of the safety and security of our citizens. But otherwise, Trace Together data is to be used only for contract tracing. There is no intention to use a Trace Together app or Trace Together token as a means of picking up breaches of existing rules. The app and the device, plus safe entry combined, are meant to provide us with information in a timely manner so that we can do speedy, fast, and effective contact tracing. The Trace Together app running on a device and the data generated are purely for contact tracing, period, said this Dr. Balakrishnan. Purely for contact tracing, period. Okay, let's move to the next tab of safety. These are tabs of safety now. Where do you think this is going, guys? I said on Twitter recently, I'm not like a wizard with a crystal ball peering into the future with magic. Like, this is how it always works. I'm not making, like, I said after the 6th riots that I knew the tech giants were going to use that as an excuse for crackdown and banning and censoring. And they did. And it's like, I'm not magic. I've been outside the system. I'm outside the system. I don't consent to the system, which puts me outside of it, which lets me see how the gears turn. So it's not predicting the future. It's just being like, oh, well, that's what that lever does over and over and over.
And I didn't see that before I took off those polarized glasses.
Right.
You through that lens, you're like, oh, that's wacko talk. No, I guess not.
There it goes. Click, click. Tabs go by. Okay, so here we are, January 5th. I didn't think of criminal procedure code when speaking earlier about Trace Together, says Vivian Balakrishnan. Oh, frankly, quote, and I think members know me well, I'm always very frank. Frank? Let me just say that again. Quote, frankly, and I think members know me well, I'm always very frank. Frankly, it's like, he's got to convince you that he's being frank. I had not thought of the CPC when I spoke earlier, but, quote, after I realized that the CPC applied this, I did have sleepless nights wondering, should I persuade my colleagues to change the law? But after having thought about it, discussed, consulted people both within and outside this house, I've come to the conclusion that right now we are doing well. I think we're still on the right track. He added that he would be happy to hear any suggestions for legislative or policy changes regarding the issue from other members of parliament. But we're good now. It's okay. It's okay. We're doing things that we literally expressly told you we wouldn't do, period. So it's okay. It's all right.
And we really want to know what you think about it. Please send an email to patrick@disenthrall.me or anywhere else. It doesn't really matter what the email address is. Just send an email somewhere because we really want to know what you have to say.
Gosh, I was sleepless. I couldn't sleep for a night. It's like tick, 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 click, click. Okay, last one. Trace together data used by police in a murder case.
Oh, now you look like a fool, Patrick. They helped catch a bad guy, and you are mocking them. I bet you feel like a jerk now.
I know. I just want people. I just want people.
You want to murder everybody.
I just want people to be murdered. Okay, you caught me.
Obviously,
you
Diesel
caught
Pete's.
me. Okay. Okay. Trace together data has been used by police investigators in one murder case. Basically, as far as I'm aware, so far, there's only been one in which it involved a murder case. So there's been other crimes, is what he just said without saying it. As far as I'm aware, caveat, asterisk, so far, asterisk, I think there's been only one in which it involved a murder case. But I'm not privy to operational details, and I shouldn't be, and therefore I'm not in a position to comment further on the investigations. I don't know. Stop asking me. Leave me alone, you pesky people asking questions about your rights. The use of TT data beyond COVID-19 contact tracing purpose has been the subject of much debate by netizens over the past couple days. The announcement apparently contradicted earlier assurances by the government last year that TT data would be used solely for COVID-19 contact tracing. And then he quotes the period line again. It will be used purely for contact tracing. Anyway, so frankly, he says the frankly thing again. They're just quoting the same stuff again. And then they said, but you guys should stop worrying. It's actually a good thing. I would actually support the use of Trace Together for police investigations because not only is it necessarily helpful in finding out who may have been in the vicinity of a crime, for example, but it can also help exonerate people who are wrongfully accused. So, for example, if you're accused and Trace Together will tell you who is around you, it may help you establish an alibi. So you just want to help the criminals. And now we have an end to end. We are full circle. We are from the innocent beginnings of an idea meant to only help you that gives a little bit of power and a little bit of, it's like a foot in the door to the government tracing a little bit of seemingly innocuous data. And now we have their law enforcement actively using it to implicate people in crimes, rightfully or wrongfully. That's the thing. Rightfully or wrongfully implicate people in crimes. You didn't consent. They didn't consent. That's what it comes down to. And this is how government does it. It's never all at once. It's always by baby steps. It's always tiptoeing in. It's always with your best intentions at heart. And the internet doesn't forget. The data that they collected back in January, they still have today using for investigations. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention. The internet doesn't forget. Their databases don't forget. Even if they promise you, oh yeah, we're getting rid of the data after 29 days. We promise. Like, no, the law enforcement people are going to be like, oh yeah, we archive a copy, for law enforcement purposes. You don't want to help criminals, do you? This is how it always works. It always works this way. You can never give them even a little bit. Because that little bit that you give them will never go away, and it will always find a way to be used in a way that you don't want it to.
If the government system is the best that I know of that's ever been developed, then I think that would be a good test of maybe it can work. And so if we look at the United States, that would be a good test. There, at the very beginning, there was a rule made that you get to keep your guns and nothing will be even infringed upon, not even outright outlawed, but it won't even be infringed upon. And then so there's this wonderful document, and then some years later, well, now you can't have guns. Well, now you can only have so and so many cartridges in a magazine. And then we talked to Lucille Jefferson, a local mother, and she is just thrilled that her daughter wasn't killed with a machine gun. So it really does have some good uses. And everybody goes, oh, wow, that's wonderful. And what else has been done? Building codes. Aren't you glad that skyscraper didn't fall on you? That's why we don't want you to redo your back porch without a permit. Slippery slope, and it ain't a fallacy.